Are you planning a trip to Nashville, Tennessee, but would like to know some useful tips for when you visit? My name is Andrew Lindsay, and I show travelers how to travel better, live healthier, and improve their overall lifestyle. And I put out a video like this every single week to help out travelers. So if you like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that notifications bell so that way you never miss a video. And today I want to share with you some very powerful tips when visiting my city, Nashville, Tennessee. Let's jump right in. My very first tip is to check out more than just Broadway. There's so much more to Nashville than just Lower Broadway, and honestly, Lower Broadway is not a very good representation of the rest of the city. There's so much more to do here than just go downtown, drink, and listen to cover bands. Despite our reputation for being one of the best drinking cities in the US, as well as the country music capital, there is a wide variety of different activities that you can do in Nashville, and a wide variety of genres of music besides just country music that you can enjoy while you're here. And the cool thing about Nashville, Tennessee is you can pretty much always find music being played somewhere in this city in some venue, so there's always an endless supply of amazing live music to check out besides just the cover music downtown. But if you are looking for a place where you can experience a little bit more of those local vibes, East Nashville is a great place for good food, good live music, a great opportunity to meet some incredible locals, and it's also a good spot for the more creative types. It's a interesting part of town for the people who want just an interesting kind of vibe where you've got multicolored houses, you've got a lot of creatives, you've got unique restaurants, and you've just got a lot of locals and cool local bars that you can explore. That is just a great experience for people who are coming from out of town to experience the local Nashville lifestyle. Then you've got West Nashville, which is a great place for shopping, relaxing, and you can even check out the only perfect replica of the Parthenon from Greece here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I highly recommend that you do because it is awesome. Tip number 2 is to come at the right time of year. So, I've lived in Nashville now for about 8 years, and I'm gonna say my least favorite part about Nashville, Tennessee is the weather. You want to make sure that you come at the right time of the year because our winters are really cold and our summers are really hot and muggy. So my personal recommendation is to come around maybe April or May, or maybe even come around maybe September, October, when it's starting to cool down a little bit and when it's not too hot and it's not too cold. However, during the transitional seasons, you can sometimes find some really bad weather here, like tornadoes and flash floods. So just be careful, keep an eye on the weather, but be sure to come at the right time so that way you don't sweat your butt off because it's extremely humid in the summer, and you don't freeze your butt off in the winter because it is extremely brittle, cold in the winter because we have so much moisture in the air. So be sure to come when it is comfortable outside. Tip number 3, Nashville is actually a pretty safe city. So when you come here, you'll generally get that sense of Southern hospitality. And honestly, I've lived here for so long and I've been to all sorts of different places in the city, and I can say that overall in most places in the city I actually feel pretty safe. Now, what I would consider the more sketchy areas of Nashville would be Lower Broadway at night, especially after all the bars have closed. You've got a lot of people walking around that have been drinking. Sometimes crime happens down there. It's not unheard of for things like that to happen. But honestly, anytime that I'm actually in the city section, especially not in like Lower Broadway, it feels pretty safe. I never really feel unsafe in Nashville. However, what I will say about Nashville is that there's really not, to me, there's not really one definitive bad part of town. Sometimes it can be literally like there's a bad spot, and then right across the street from that is a good spot. So it's hard for me to definitively say one part of town is actually bad, but to me, Nashville's overall a pretty safe city. East Nashville, I mentioned earlier, is a really cool part of town, really fun, but East Nashville has experienced gentrification over the years, which has led to East Nashville being kind of a somewhat safe, somewhat not safe part of town. It's not unheard of for there to be some kind of crime that happens in East Nashville, but there are certain parts of East Nashville where I wouldn't even feel unsafe walking around at night because it is a good part of town. But then you literally go a couple streets over and then suddenly it's kind of like a sketchy part of town. But overall, I would say that Nashville's a pretty safe city, especially compared to some of the other major cities that I've been to. And as long as you stay in more of the touristy spots, especially like, Upper Broadway to me is a safer spot than Lower Broadway, but if you stay around the touristy spots or you just hang out, especially during like the daytime, then it's overall a pretty safe city, so you don't have to worry too much about crime or anything sketchy happening, so long as you stay in the populated areas and so long as you just remain aware of your surroundings. Just like any city, crime does happen. It's not unheard of for crime to happen in Nashville, but overall it is a pretty safe city, so you can feel safe when you come here. Tip number 4, Lower Broadway and Upper Broadway are very different places. So Lower Broadway is the primary spot where tourists go to hang out, enjoy local cover band music, and they want to go enjoy the club life and all that. That's the primary tourist spot. But Upper Broadway is actually about 4 miles away from Lower Broadway, and Upper Broadway is a much more laid-back experience. In fact, I would rather personally hang out on Upper Broadway because there's far less chaos, far less people, and you still get like a piece of Lower Broadway, kind of that Lower Broadway experience. There's still good food up on Upper Broadway. There's still cover bands, there's still live music. It's just nowhere near as chaotic, and you have an opportunity to meet more locals on Upper Broadway than you do Lower Broadway. In fact, most locals don't even go hang out on Lower Broadway, so I recommend, if you want a little bit more of that Nashville experience, but you want a little less chaos and a little less sketchiness, then I recommend going to Upper Broadway as opposed to Lower Broadway. Tip number 5, Nissan Stadium parking is free. So a lot of locals know this, but a lot of people coming from out of town might not know this, but if you park at Nissan Stadium across from the walking bridge, across from Lower Broadway, then you will have free parking most of the time, so long as there are no events going on. So, to see this area, you'll actually have to go drive by Nissan Stadium, and right at the base of the walking bridge where the parking lot is at, that is usually free unless you see someone there charging or unless the gates are closed. Now, if there is an event going on in Nashville, then sometimes this will definitely not be a free parking space. A lot of the time this gets used during events, but most of the time this is actually available and completely free, regardless of what the signs say. You might see signs that say something like, you might get towed or whatever, but I've literally parked down there for years. I worked down there for years, and I've never ever been towed parking at the Nissan Stadium. So that is a great place to park for free as a tourist, and you can literally just walk across the walking bridge and you are right in downtown Nashville in Lower Broadway. And if this does happen to actually be, not free, if there's some kind of an event going on or it's blocked off, then I recommend going to the Nashville Library parking. At the bottom of the library, this parking is a great spot. It's not that far from Lower Broadway. It's a very short walk, and it's usually only $10 to park here. So that is my recommendation for tourists who are looking for parking in Nashville and want to go to Lower Broadway. Now, real quick, if you're enjoying this video, I wanted to mention that I created a free resource for you called My Ultimate Budget Travel Guide, and I put this free resource together so that way you would have some amazing budget dream destinations, as well as all the resources that you need for each one of these destinations to plan your trip, all with this free resource alone, without having to go outside of this free resource to plan and book your trip. And on top of that, I included some other amazing resources to help you save on all of your travel needs. And I'm super excited about this because I know how much that this can help somebody save on their travel, and I'm gonna be using it myself. Not to mention, this free resource is going to be getting updated over time. So if you pick it up and I update it, I will be sending an email to you letting you know whenever it gets updated, so that way you can download the updated version. So this is an ever-growing resource that I'm going to add more and more places to and more resources to help you save money on your travel. So if you want to pick this up, you can do so by clicking the link in the description below this video. Now let's get on to the next tip. Now, tip number 6 is our work traffic is terrible. So Nashville is actually pretty well known for having one of the worst traffic jams in all of the country. It's where I-40 and I-24 intersect, and about 3:30 to 7 p.m. every single day, traffic is abysmal in this part of the interstate. And you want to be aware of this because you don't want to get stuck in that traffic. I'm telling you, you just don't want to get stuck in that traffic jam. So just know that, our traffic here is not that good. I know Nashville's known for being like a small town kind of feel, but in fact, we've actually had so many people move here over the years that our infrastructure is just not built for how many people have actually moved into the city. And because of that, we've got way more people than what our roads were designed for, and the traffic gets terrible during work hours. So just be aware of that our work traffic is pretty bad. Tip number 7 is that our city sleeps early. So this is not like Las Vegas, even though we get the nickname Nash Vegas. We do not stay open all night. In fact, Lower Broadway will actually close up around 2:30 in the morning, and that's because we have laws where after like 3 in the morning, the fire marshal will get on to us and all that other stuff. So we just close at 2:30 in the morning, pretty much every bar downtown, except for Kid Rock's, I think. I think Kid Rock's actually kind of bends the rules a little bit and stays open till like 3 or 3:30, which, you know, I don't know how they do that, but I'm pretty sure that they are the only bar that actually stays open past 2:30 in the morning. And almost every single restaurant, except for maybe like downtown in this city, closes around like 10, 11 p.m. There are a few restaurants that stay open to like 12, like pizza restaurants and all the stuff that you would expect. You know, we have all our normal fast food restaurants and stuff, but as far as like stuff that's local to Nashville, a lot of that stuff closes around 10, except for like Lower Broadway. You've got the Sun Diner and you've got the Diner. Those both stay open pretty much all night or really late. So if you're down in that area and you're trying to enjoy some food, especially after you've been, you know, partying and drinking on Lower Broadway, those two places tend to stay open and you can go check those out. But just know that Nashville tends to close early. Tip number 7 is we have a lot of waterfalls. So for those of you that are actually looking to maybe go a little bit outside of Nashville, maybe an hour or two, and you want to experience some outdoor activities, the Nashville area or the Tennessee area actually has a lot of waterfalls. In fact, back in 2020, when everything was shut down, me and a few friends made it a point to try to visit as many waterfalls as we could. And I don't even remember how many we got to. I think we got to maybe like 8, 9, 10, something like that. But there are a lot of different waterfalls and a lot of great hiking areas around the Nashville area for you to check out. So if you want to just branch out of Nashville a little bit and go check out some nature, go check out some of our waterfalls. Tip number 8 is our hotel prices. So there aren't actually a lot of hostels here in Nashville, Tennessee, and you're going to be looking to spend around $60 at the cheapest for a hotel here for one night in Nashville. And for something a little bit nicer, you're going to be looking to spend a little bit closer to $100 per night. So if you're wanting to save a little bit of money when you're traveling to Nashville and you're traveling with maybe a couple friends, I would look at Airbnbs. In fact, Airbnbs are quite popular around here. So check those out if you're wanting to save a little bit of money on your travel. Otherwise, expect to spend close to $100 or even more than $100 per night for a pretty decent hotel stay here in Nashville. Tip number 9 is check out the free attractions in Nashville, Tennessee, especially if you were on a budget. So there are quite a few free things that you can do in Nashville, such as the walking bridge, art museums, hiking, Centennial Park. And if you are a huge fan of Dukes of Hazzard, which I am, fun fact, I actually love Dukes of Hazzard. The General Lee is my favorite car of all time. You can go check out Cooter's Place over by Opry Mills, which has all the original cars from the Dukes of Hazzard TV show, as well as all sorts of cool Dukes of Hazzard merch. And I will actually leave a link in the description with a list of free activities that you can do in Nashville, as well as a link to a sightseeing pass that will help you save some money on some cheaper activities that you can do in Nashville. And tip number 10, not all hot chicken in Nashville is made the same. So Nashville is super famous for its hot chicken, but it's not all made equal. In fact, there's a lot of back and forth amongst locals as to which one is the best and which one is the original. And after doing a little bit of research, I actually think that Prince's is the original hot chicken. Now, I've never personally had Prince's, but I have had a few different kinds of hot chicken, and I'll say my personal opinion is that if it's made with sauce, it's not real hot chicken. It has to be made with spices. And with my experience, I know Hattie B's is actually a really popular spot for people to get hot chicken, but I don't think that that's the place that locals look at as the original and the best representation of hot chicken. And what I've had experience with is Bolton's. So Bolton's is super hot. Now, I love hot food. Hot food is like my jam, but Bolton's will light you on fire even if you put it on medium. In fact, I'll tell you a story. I ordered Bolton's one time. I got medium or hot, I can't remember, and I think it goes like mild, medium, hot, extra hot, and I literally only ate 2 strips and my mouth was on fire. I literally drank so much water and so much creamer that my stomach was bloated and I was full and barely ate any food because Bolton's is super hot. So if you are like somebody who loves really, really hot food, then I recommend Bolton's as my personal recommendation for a good example of genuine hot chicken. But do your own research, figure out, kind of where the most popular places are, but there's a lot of back and forth with locals. We can't really figure out which one is the best or the original. I think everybody's kind of got their own opinions on which one they think is the true representation of Nashville hot chicken. But just know that if you go to one place, it might be very different than what you're gonna get at another place. There's not just one hot chicken. So be sure to figure out which one is the best for you. Maybe try a few different restaurants and let me know which one you like best, and I will go check it out myself. So that is my 10 tips for visiting Nashville, Tennessee. And before this video comes to an end, I just wanted to mention my free resource, the Ultimate Budget Travel Guide. And I put this free resource together so that way you would have access to a bunch of dream destinations you can afford all on a budget, as well as all the resources for each one of these places all in one place, so you can book your entire trip just using this free resource and have this all at your fingertips. And this is an ever-growing resource. I'm going to continue to add to it. And when you pick this up, I will send you an email letting you know if I ever update it, so that way you can download the updated version. And I know how much this free resource can help you save on your travel, so be sure to pick that up in the link in the description. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like. That helps me out a lot. And leave a comment letting me know which one of these tips you like best, and let me know if you're coming to Nashville. Perhaps you can reach out to me on socials, and maybe I can show you around Nashville, Tennessee sometime. And of course, if you know anyone who is visiting Nashville or thinking about visiting Nashville, be sure to share this video with them, because it could help them out a lot and it helps me out a lot. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notifications bell, so that way you don't miss my video next week. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.